Attack of the Killer Tomatoes!
Oh, here I am with Savage Scott and Liz.
Hey there!
Yeah. We're here at Why are we in Balboa Park?
San Diego. This is the far-off land of San Diego.
Ah, yes. You can see the tower back there for the Museum of Man.
Beautiful Balboa Park, Museum of Photographic Arts.
Oh, something going on.
45th anniversary, I heard.
Not Halloween, is it?
We were close.
Close. Dawn of the Dead? Wait. Oh.
No, something even better. Something more scary.
I think this color might give it away.
Possibly. we're doing Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. I forgot about that one too. But it's Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, man.
What?
Oh,
1978.
Not the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Ooh. For the Q&A in San Diego?
In San Diego.
Oh my God.
Because, well, it was filmed in
San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh,
crazy.
Man.
So we're down here in, down at Balboa Park.
Balboa Park, yes.
They have the San Diego Film Festival. It goes on for a week here in November. So this is the final night of the San Diego Film Festival. And to cap it all off, besides the awards, you got to have a film filmed locally. So
that's why we're having to dress up too, semi-casual and everything.
And if you haven't heard the song, definitely go in and Google Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I got a confession though.
What?
I've never seen the movie, but I know the song because of the cartoon that aired on Fox Kids in the early 90s.
Oh, there you go.
See, so I guess I'm popping my cherry tomato today. For the first time.
Make sure you hit like and subscribe on that one. So we're definitely going through. You're going to get the chance to see perhaps some behind the scenes. Chris may or may not have some stuff for signature. Not that he ever brings anything for signature.
Well, I was told fruits are good, so
Yeah, he brought some tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes and a Sharpie. Let's see how that goes over.
Ooh, man. We'll see. Oh, we are inside. Oh, it's a red carpet. Oh, man. You're super excited. Look at that. We got free drinks, free munchies. Oh man. Work ceremony here. High end, right? Oh, yeah. We got everybody over here. Man, Costa Dillon right here. That is so cool. Tomato tie and all. Right? The Killer Tomatoes.
Of B movie spoofs. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. It's a 1978 cult classic parody film that takes aim at the science fiction horror genre with over-the-top humor and some campy thrills. So, are you ready to hear what this is about? Yeah. Check this out. When tomatoes mutate into bloodthirsty killers, a group of unlikely heroes emerges to save the world from these.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes became a cult hit, gaining a devoted following among fans of B movies and absurdist humor. And is there any other kind? Okay. And yes, unfortunately, the producer Steve was unable to be with us for the Q&A. And also, I heard that there is some really cool swag in the audience's future.
Ooh.
No, nothing for you. Delightful ride through tomato-infested mayhem. Let's give a round of applause for Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah!
Costa Dillon for delivering a parody that has stood the test of time.
Okay, so we're about to dive into the minds behind Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. So please join us in welcoming our moderator for tonight's Q&A, film critic and podcaster, Beth Accomando.
Welcome.
I also edited the third and fourth films, right?
Three sequel. I was
You did
assistant.
three.
Assistant.
Assistant return. And
Yes,
you're the
and-
primary editor for
Yes.
Strikes Back in France. Yep.
And I did the bonus features on that Rhino
Oh, the
25th
25th anniversary
which,
edition, yeah.
if anybody bought that and watched the bonus features, most of that material was manufactured fake. I drew the storyboards for that because I didn't have anything. They said, you need to do 12 bonus features. And I said, what do I have to work with? Nothing. We had a few things.
There's trivia.
Things, but yeah, so I drew Finn Letter being dragged behind the car on a little card and shot that and put it in. So Talk about writing this, because it seems to be riffing on a lot of different genres, a lot of different films.
Yeah, well, this film was made before most of you were born.
Yeah.
So, you know, there you go. So the references are kind of old, a lot of them. And I've been asked lots of times, where'd you come up with the idea? What kind of drugs were they, and can I get some? and there's endless places online where you can see the story of it. I had seen a film called Attack of the Mushroom People, which is a real Japanese horror film, and I just thought it was so stupid that we should parody that. And the first thing that came to mind was tomatoes. In retrospect, I wish I'd picked celery, because tomatoes were really hard to make. Celery would have been a lot easier. It just took off from there. The idea was just make fun of cheap horror movies, you know, and it was easy to make fun of cheap films because it was a cheap film. I'm amazed to this day that it's famous. There's a lot of reasons why it's still around that I can go into, but a lot of other films at the time became obscure and disappeared. But there's a number of serendipitous reasons why this film still exists and why it's still available.
Well,
we weren't going to let them use it, so they did, and that gave rise to, you know, people started to hear about the film about that same time as when videotape came around. Boy, that shows you how old you are, right? And it's hard to remember, but back when video cassettes first became available in homes, the studios did not want their films released on video. They thought it would kill the television market. They didn't want to release their titles to video. We were among somewhere around the first 100 or 50 titles to go to video because we didn't care. You know, there wasn't any market for us on CBS TV. So we said sure. And in those days, when you went to a video store, and they were actually often in malls, and they had 200 titles maybe, and you're looking around, what are you going to rent? Attack of the Killer Tomatoes was one of the films available, and that made it, again, brought its popularity out. And then it was, the third thing that happened is it was used on an episode of Muppet Babies.
Love that cartoon.
A popular show at the time. They used a clip from it. Elmo had a bad dream, and he imagined the Killer Tomatoes. Those three things just all of a sudden brought it back from the dead, and
That's
became
awesome.
alive. And in 1987, we were able to, we got approached to do a sequel. We didn't want to do a sequel because we had already done another film called Happy Hour, Jamie Farr and Rich Little, Tawny Katane, and weren't planning to go back to Killer Tomatoes, but New World Pictures used the magic words, "We'll pay you," and we said okay, and we did Return of the Killer Tomatoes, which famously stars George Clooney, and later a third and fourth film in the cartoon series.
Hell yeah.
just curious, how many of you were seeing this for the very first time?
Whoa, how about that? Yeah,
So-
you know, it's half the audience left, so you know.
Not for everybody.
I'm not offended.
Well, since so many of you are only seeing this for the first time, you want to tell them about the helicopter?
Yes, the helicopter did crash. That wasn't a stunt. It wasn't supposed to crash. It cost more than the movie did. The helicopter crash. It was supposed to just. Well, let me back up a step. We made this film, you know, when we were 22, 23 years old. And so I only watched part of it because if you can think of anything you did when you were 23 years old, you want to look at 40 years later. Good for you. But we didn't know how to make a movie. We had no idea. We figured out as we went along. And we didn't know that in real movies that you don't put your stars on the helicopter. You land the helicopter, and then you fake the stars getting off it. We actually had our real stars on the helicopter.
Oh.
So when it crashed, Von Schauer and Jack Riley, who was quite well known at the time because he was on the Bob Newhart show, in the helicopter. And what happened is the pilot clipped his tail rotor, and that means the helicopter lost its gyroscopic stability, and it, turned over and crashed and burned into a pile of metal. So while we're waiting for the fire engines and the National Transportation Safety Board to show up, we improvised the scene of saying, wow, we got attacked by a tomato. It came flying at us. And I was just stunned that Jack Riley and Von Schauer agreed to do it. And because as soon as the ambulance got there, I went with both of them to the hospital.
Oh, God.
But we finished the scene. Yay. Yeah. Told me I should be taller and more handsome, and I didn't do either one of those two things. But it's great advice. If you search George Clooney Killer Tomatoes, what you'll get on your phone is the scene with me. You'll see the two of us in a scene together. I would say just people, Hollywood, people make movies for money. It's an industry. They don't call it a film industry for nothing. It is an industry. And that's why you get sequel after sequel after sequel. They're just making money. I would say be true to yourself. I meet people who can't stand this movie. I meet people who love this movie. And at first it bothered me, and critics bothered me. And after a while, it's like, you know what? The movie finds its own audience. And especially comedies find their own audience. And so I meet lots of people who love this film or the other ones. And I wish I could show you the other ones, because we got much better at filmmaking. The second and fourth film particularly are good. We're like Star Trek. The even-numbered films are the best ones. And and they're much better than this one, because we learned a whole ton of stuff while we were making how to make the giant tomatoes. We tried all kinds of things. We tried chicken wire. We tried plaster of Paris, papier-mâché, PVC pipes. Nothing was working until finally, at that time, we had a number of friends had fathers who worked at Roar Industries, which was building the BART cars for San Francisco. And there's a foam that goes in the panel of the BART cars to help deaden the sound. It's one of those A and B things. You put it together and it puffs up and it solidifies. We realized that would work. And so we dug these huge semicircles in the ground and lined it with that stuff, and then glued the two halves together. And the scene at the stadium we filmed last, because they disintegrated during that scene when you're rolling down the ramp. They just flew to pieces. It cost me $500 to rent San Diego Stadium for the day.
Wow.
Wow. It was still cheapo. Yeah. John DeBello. John stayed making films, and he still does. He has a production company that does videos and TV commercials and all kinds of things. Steve became a California State Assemblyman, then a California State Senator. And I spent 35 years with the National Park Service as a park ranger and superintendent. So we didn't stay making movies that whole time.
And I went to KPBS, and I mean, I use my filmmaking skills because I have to shoot, edit, produce, write, my TV and radio features and stuff. But yeah, I worked there for a long time.
Not at liberty to reveal anything yet, but yes, we are working potentially on a fifth film.
Ooh.
Not yet.
Well, there was no reason to do one, because we didn't own the rights to anything until a couple of years ago when we started regaining the rights. So there was no incentive for us to do anything. So there might be now.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, lovely parting gifts.
Those of you who bothered to stay around.
Oh, what?
Tomatoes!
We throw tomatoes at the audience?
Oh, shit.
Oh my God, the aprons!
Yes, aprons.
Oh, man.
Killer Tomato
What?
Cafe.
You'd like to stay?
That
Aprons.
is-
Wow.
Before you leave, come on up here and I'll give you an apron.
Hell yeah.
I helped design
That's
it.
awesome.
There was hot sauce too.
That is serious swag, people.
Oh, did somebody say pass the ketchup?
The free swag that we got at the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes screening event was this apron Killer Tomatoes Cafe. Oh man, what a fun time at this event, San Diego Film Festival Awards, and then the Q&A for the one and only Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, filmed out here locally in San Diego. We were supposed to have 2 guests that appeared, Stephen Peace, which was the producer, and writer-creator Costa Dillon. Well, as you can see on the signature right here, only one of the guests showed up, and that was Costa Dillon, the writer and creator. He's also in the scene in the classroom, if you've seen the movie, who goes, "Tomato?" And everybody starts running. With this movie, plant your tongue firmly in your cheek and just sit back, enjoy the over-the-top cheesiness, the over-the-top weirdness, the over-the-top humor, everything. It was funny. I enjoyed it. The jokes worked with me. And this is an all-time cult classic, and you can tell why, as it makes fun of a lot of the old B movies and horror movies at the time. Even having a Japanese character in this, and they overdubbed the voice like they did in the old Godzilla films. MVD Rewind collection right here, pull-out poster, Blu-ray, DVD combo, signed by the creator, Costa Dillon. And then what else I got signed? I got the sequel, the Blu-ray of Return of the Killer Tomatoes, signed by Costa Dillon, and signed by Betha Commando, who was part of the panel. She was the moderator, but before doing Film Geeks events and working at KPBS locally, she was an editor on the Killer Tomatoes sequel. So that's pretty damn cool. Of course, this sequel, is notorious for having George Clooney in one of his first major film appearances. I wanted to get parts 3 and 4, Killer Tomatoes Strike Back, Killer Tomatoes Eat France, but no dice, so hard to find. But I will take this. What a fun time. Thank you, Popcorn Reef. Thank you, San Diego Film Festival. Oh, man. Your fruits of your labor were much appreciated. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.